How are we doing today, Riders? This is a video guide on how to handle the grave ferals in game. These guys are significantly more difficult. They have different type of tactics, and they hit harder. So I'm going to talk about how you can basically do these guys without getting completely destroyed. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the fit that I think you'll need. And this is going to be basically bare minimum to be able to do this comfortably. Obviously, depending on how you are as a pilot and other things, you could probably do it with less or you could do it with more. But I think this is like the bare minimum that you're going to want when you're trying to fight these guys. You're going to need a needle. I recommend the needle because of the range. You're going to want to be able to get out to that 35 kilometers, and I know this is going to change in the new patch coming up on Tuesday. You're going to want at least one leap, because if a sticky situation happens, you want to be able to get out of their range and be able to get your hull up some. You're going to want small synthetic mining lenses, about 10 of them at least, because fighting these guys, they do take a lot of damage. You're going to be burning through lenses like crazy. It took me 3 hours to kill like 50 to 60 of these guys. It was insane. Directional scanner, you're going to want that because, you know, these guys are kind of hard to scan down sometimes. And knowing where they're at when you come to a site is very important, because if you don't know where they're at, you can get swarmed and get destroyed. And this may be the controversial part of this video. I honestly think that to do this comfortably, you're going to want at least 2 hull repairers. One is a little too scary for my book, because, you know, if you're fighting more than 5 of these guys at a time, one really struggles. If you're fighting 10, you're just going to die. You're going to want 2 hull repairers. You can stay alive longer with those, but you have to watch out for your heat. Speaking of heat, we're going to talk about a few things that you might want but aren't really needed, just to give you an extra edge when fighting these ferals. You might want an additional leap just for a faster boost of speed to get away from the area where you're being basically completely swarmed. I want to say you want about 20 extinguishing slaves. These are very useful for when your ship is getting completely melted. I know the Grave Rights and the Grave Shamblers, their shots cause so much fire damage, it's insane. So these basically would just give you a little bit of a buffer to basically not get cooked inside of your own ship. And the homostatic inoculation, if I butchered that, I apologize. You're going to want 2 of those, you know, bare minimum. Those are basically just a failsafe, like if you can't cool yourself down fast enough and you start taking like vitality damage to your shell, those will just get you back up to full HP. They do go from basically like 10 to full, so if you're about to die, that's the only time I'd really use them. I'd say if you hit that 10 vitality, that's when you pop one, and then go ahead and pop the extinguishing slave to kind of help your ship cool off a little bit faster and not take any more damage. That structural brace, one of those will make a significant difference in the pool of HP you have for your ship, but if you can fit 2, that's ideal. You'll have more than enough, you know, hull that you can, you know, repair what you need to repair, get away, do what you need to do, and so on and so forth. And then the last thing that would be significantly better to have is going to be the attitude controller to help you control your ship. There are some type spots in some of these sites that, you know, if you get stuck and you can't warp away, you're gonna die. Having that attitude controller, being able to maneuver a little bit better, that'll help prevent those situations from occurring. But, you know, those are just wants. You don't really need those, but, you know, if you can afford to have those things, please do so. Also, that needle lens, if you can afford them, you know, they do more damage. So if you can take them, it would be nice to have, but they're definitely not needed. They might be better after this patch, but we will see. time to talk about how you actually fight these guys. The Grave Rights will get about 80 kilometers from you. They will keep at range. Their shots don't do too much damage. They can get some alpha strikes on you that do like 100 plus damage. The scariest part about them is the amount of heat they cause for your ship. If you have like 3 or 4 rights shooting you, you're gonna get hot really fast, and you want to take care of those guys first, if possible. What I do is I'll select one of the rights, I'll start flying towards it, and as I'm flying towards it, if I'm not in range, I'll fight the harder hitting shamblers first. If you don't see any rights nearby, just take out the shamblers, and then go from the shamblers to the Luthers, and then from the Luthers you want to go to the Cardi. But those rights definitely want to die first. They're the ones that will be the highest danger to you, as far as, you know, not being able to take the damage because the heat, which is why I say focus them first. Shamblers do cause heat as well, but it's not as high as the rights. I'm hoping that this helped. If it didn't, you know, I tried. But all in all, as a writer, it's up to you to figure out how you want to fly and how you want to fight. The reason why I do these videos is to give people a starting point. I'm not always 100% accurate. There's some things I may miss. There are some things that I may overlook. My goal isn't for monetary gain. It's just to give someone a starting point. Someone who doesn't have the time to play like I do. Someone who, you know, just got into a new area. They've never seen this enemy movie before. I want to give them a chance when they actually encounter these guys. Anyway, getting back on the topic of the video, a tip I'm going to give you is you can adjust your sighting range by hitting the control button and using your scroll wheel to adjust your range. You can use this if you're having trouble hitting these AI, these feral. You can use that to get a better shot on them. And at the end of that laser, or whatever weapon you're using currently in game, you'll see there's like a little ball sphere. As long as that sphere is around the target, you'll be doing damage. I hope this helps. I hope you learned something from this video. Until next time, writers.